Emerson has some new polling out for the June 2026 primary for the California gubernatorial race. And when you and I talked about this race back in April, it was a different race because there was a lot of chatter, a lot of excitement for someone who had not officially jumped into the race, that person being former Vice President Kamala Harris. She did announce last week, though, that she is not throwing her hat in the ring. So, to start off the conversation, how exactly does that announcement change things?
And Brittany, that does certainly change things. With Harris out of the mix now, we see that Katie Porter is now the leader of the race, 18%. That's followed by Republican Steve Hilton, who is a relative newcomer to the field with 12%. And then everyone else is under 10%. So Kamala Harris being out of the race, that's obviously a major factor here. It opens it up to really several Democrats. I think Republicans will probably coalesce around one or a few candidates. We see a little bit of that here with Hilton, but the race definitely got more interesting as a result of Harris staying out.
It definitely did. And when you and I were talking back in April, it essentially looked like Harris's race to lose. She was the front runner at 31% when you polled her in the race. And Katie Porter was in a distant second at 8% there. Where are you seeing Harris's support go? Because 31%, that is a sizable chunk of voters.
That is a sizable chunk, and I wouldn't say that Harris's support has gone to any one place necessarily. We do see that Porter is posting a lead here, and that's specifically among a few groups. One I'd like to shout out, though, is among the most educated, the folks with an advanced degree beyond bachelor's. She's earning 35% of the vote. That's not necessarily any sort of monolith there, but that is something that's boosting her. It's surprising, though, that no other Democrats in the poll are really able to crack that 10% mark. Democrats like Villaraigosa, Kounalakis, neither of them are getting above 10%. I do think that this field is still open. I think that there's certainly a window there for someone to potentially break through on that moderate Democrat side. I mean, remember, we saw polling in New York City leading up to Election Day that showed Cuomo winning the first round ballot. That ended up not happening. We could end up seeing a so-called moderate Mamdani here.
And undecided is winning here by a lot at 38%. It's winning by a landslide. But who is this undecided helping more? Because I wouldn't say that any of these California names in the gubernatorial race are necessarily household names. Arguably, one of the most popular is Katie Porter. She's a former congresswoman, and she had some viral moments on social media, but it's not exactly like it was when former Vice President was in, Harris was in, because she obviously was the only true household name there.
Yeah, and right now I don't know that the undecided is necessarily helping anyone. We do see that Steve Hilton is picking up some support here just by entering the race, I think. He's already winning 30% of Republicans. So I think that that vote will end up consolidating pretty significantly. Like I said, Democrats have some real choices to make here. And, as of right now, none of these down ballot, these candidates who are further down in the roster, none of them are really picking up any steam. So Porter has clearly gained as a result of Harris exiting the race or never entering in the first place. But like I said, I think there is space here for some of these other candidates. We'll see over the next 10 or so months. But as these campaigns kick into gear, they're really going to be going after some of those undecided voters. And as you said, there are quite a lot of them right now.
To that point, that it seems like Katie Porter's one of the only candidates to be picking up steam, how competitive is this race shaping out to be 10 months out from the primary?
So I do think that this will be a competitive race. Obviously, we have candidates of all parties on this ballot. Once we get down to the top two, I do see a Democrat winning this race. I don't think it's necessarily competitive for a Republican candidate, barring a real splintering of the Democratic field. We see in the generic ballot that Democrats are ahead in California by over 20 points. So, I don't see it necessarily being terribly competitive for Republicans, but I do see it being competitive for different lanes of Democrats and independents.